Hey everybody, sitting here with Jordan in Whole Foods. We just talked about what we're going to be doing over the course of the next 12 weeks. So week one, we decided we're going to start off with talking vitamins, minerals, different fats, a few different amino acids. We're going to focus mostly on the fat-soluble vitamins and a few minerals in order to lead us to our next conversation the following week, which will be digestion and what's happening in digestion and some of the things that get lost in these fat-soluble vitamins and certain minerals when your digestion isn't working well, which is, to be honest, most people. Then week three, we'll talk about the microbiota and the immune system and how the things that we talked about the previous 2 weeks are implicated there. Then we'll talk about mitochondrial health and mitochondrial dysfunction. Remember, about 95% of the body's energy is coming from these suckers, so it's important that we have them operating at full capacity. Then we'll talk about inflammation, the difference between acute versus chronic inflammation. And everybody has this idea that inflammation is so bad for you, but guess what? When you work out, you get inflamed. So it's about chronic versus acute. And that has to do with what's called the hormetic response, which we'll talk about week 6. You've heard about maybe the hormetic response. Whether you realize it or not, you're doing it all the time, not just in exercise, but even when you're learning, there's a lot of stress on your brain to learn. Similarly, when you go into the sauna, that's a hormetic response. Cold therapy is a hormetic response. But again, you don't want to be in the cold for 3 days, do you? Right? So it has to do with the amount of time and the person that's going in. Now, why are all these things important that we're talking about before we get the hormetic response? Because if you're an unhealthy person, right? If you're somebody that has poor digestion with poor mitochondrial health, right? And you're inflamed all the time and you try to start introducing the hormetic response into your body, bad move. You need to be properly nourished. You need to have certain things going on before you start introducing things like hormesis into your routine. Then we're going to talk about some 23andMe polymorphisms and genes just in general. Jordan really knows a lot about that stuff as well as all the other stuff that we've been talking about. Then we're going to have a seminar on sleep. Then we're going to have a seminar on very particular hormones, which I think I'm looking forward to the most, to be honest with you. That'll be week 9. Week 10, we're going to do that breathing seminar. We're going to talk about the parasympathetic nervous system versus the sympathetic nervous system. And we're going to do some breathing patterns to demonstrate this stuff. Week 11, we're going to talk about depression and anxiety. Now, depression and anxiety, I just want you to recognize why we're talking about all this stuff before we get to depression and anxiety, because the whole seminar on depression and anxiety is going to sound much different once you understand the previous 10 weeks. And then finally, we'll talk about the number 1 killer in America, that's heart health. And we're saving that one for last for similar reasons, because we're not going to understand why this is happening in the bigger context unless you understand the previous 11 weeks really well. So we're looking forward to Sunday. And Jordan, week 1, we're going to focus mostly on the fat-soluble vitamins. I just figure now, let's just talk quickly about the water-soluble vitamins, vitamins B and C, very quickly. Just give people an idea, just so that this isn't underappreciated, because we're just not going to have enough time on Sunday. Just give people a brief appreciation of the different B vitamins, starting with B1, riboflavin. Just give them a flavor of, like, why is something like riboflavin important?
Yeah, so the B vitamins are all grouped together because they all have similar functions, but they're pretty complex, and there's lots of different types of them. So riboflavin, thiamine, both of those are going to be involved in protecting cells from hypoxia and other environmental stresses, but they're also used as coenzymes to help activate other enzymes in the body and to involved in like energy metabolism and stuff like that. Niacin is involved in methylation processes. It's also involved in the histamine response. We have folate, which is involved in cell replication, DNA repair. Pantothenic acid is involved, and biotin as well is involved in producing oil in your skin and helping to protect hair and skin cells from death. I mean, there's tons of them, and the only one that's really going to matter in terms of your digestive health, because the water-soluble vitamins don't generally have a lot of issue being absorbed, is vitamin B12. And vitamin B12 is very important for lots of different reasons, but we'll probably talk about that a little bit on Sunday, because if you have low stomach acid, you're not going to be absorbing vitamin B12 efficiently at all.
Excellent. And how about just a few words on vitamin C?
Yeah, vitamin C is involved in a whole bunch of stuff in the body as well. It's used in the immune response, it's used as a general antioxidant, and it's used to protect neuronal cells from damage too. So even in your brain, you have, vitamin C's chemical name is ascorbic acid. You have some things called ascorbic acid shuttles in your blood-brain barrier just to get vitamin C through to your brain. So it's very important in your brain too.
All right, excellent. So just give you a little flavor, Jordan is just an encyclopedia of knowledge. He will be happy to answer all of your questions every week. But we wanted to give you the B vitamins, the C vitamins right now, because we're just going to have enough time to talk about water-soluble vitamins on Sunday. We're going to speak mostly about fat-soluble stuff and certain minerals, just because as we tell this story about digestion, those are the things that get implicated the most. So we look forward to telling this story over the course of 12 weeks. And remember, it's not just about you guys, it's about your kids, it's about the next generation really understanding this stuff. So we look forward to Sunday, and we'll see you 8:30 sharp. Have a great day.